autumn,
Yeah.
and with autumn we have new Peter McKinnon images. He's rolling out really good stuff on his Instagram. Like some of this stuff is really cool because of the way it's edited. So Peter McKinnon does not have a fixed color grading style that he uses in his Instagram posts. In fact, it changes throughout the seasons. I have seen this pattern and I think he's talked about this in some of his interviews. But it's really cool. Autumn is here and his images reflect that. They're orangey, they're warm, they feel so nice. It just feels like the warm, spooky season. Alright, so first of all, let's have a look. And before I start with the tutorial, before I start how to get that look, I want to make one thing very clear. I love and respect these creators from the bottom of my heart, and this video is in no way to show you guys how to copy them, but this is just a way to show you guys how you can learn from their techniques, how you can implement these techniques, how you can take inspiration from how these guys create such amazing work. So this is no way to copy or rip off Peter McKinnon. I love that guy. This is just to show you guys how you can create similar images, how you can understand the different aspects of editing and color. So let's get started. Alright, so here we have our image. The image was from Signature Edits and I'll link it down below, so if you guys want to try it you can. It's a raw file, so that really helps us. So looking at the image, the composition is really good. It's probably shot during winters. It's a mountain, there's mist, it's fog, it looks very nice, but we want to give it that autumn look, that warm autumn look. So for that, let's first of all do the lens correction, use profile correction, and that will fix some vignetting and stuff. Next we are going to change the temperature. We're going to make it slightly warmer. Now remember, we are not doing anything crazy like completely making it yellow. No, we also don't want to have blue because that will feel cold. We are going for a warm autumn feel, so make it slightly yellow. Next thing, we are going to leave the tint as it is. I think this looks fairly alright. Now the exposure is the next step, which we are going to decrease slightly, not too much, just slightly, minus 0.75. Peter McKinnon's photographs have a ton of contrast, so we will be adding contrast to it. This will give the texture in the wood grain, it will look more refined, it will look much more pronounced, and that's exactly what we're going for. Coming to highlights, we are going to increase the highlights slightly, not too much. Look at this portion right here, that's the important part, because there are no other major sources of light other than this, so we will have to make it slightly more pronounced. Next, we are going to decrease the whites because we don't want to give it that misty white look. We still want to keep our highlights, but we don't want the mist look, so decrease the whites, increase the highlights. The blacks are fine. Peter does not have that much details in his blacks, and further we're going to crush the blacks, so blacks are fine. We will increase the texture. Peter McKinnon really emphasizes on textures in his photographs, but don't go overboard. We don't want to give it that inorganic. I don't know what I'm saying. You get the point. And then increase the clarity slightly, Maya +6, just to give it that pop. Now the important part is saturation and vibrance, but before that I really want to make some changes to the curves, and that's exactly what I'm going to do. I'm going to increase the shadows just to give it that, just to make some details, and then I'm going to increase the midtones. All I'm doing is very slight adjustments. I'm not going overboard with anything. The highlights are fine. Next, let's decrease the vibrance to -15. I'm gonna keep the saturation same. Many people ask what's the difference between vibrance and saturation. The saturation is the color, and vibrance is basically the strength of color. Vibrance is basically how punchy the color looks, and saturation is how much color there is. So it sounds complicated, it's not really. Alright, next thing, we can easily shift the slider all the way to yellow, making the greens orange, but you know what, I'm going to increase the greens a little bit and you will find out why in the next step. I'm going to make the hut more orange. I'll go increase the orange's saturation, so look, the color, the hut looks more vibrant now. The luminance, everything is fine. Now our split toning is really important. This will make a ton of difference, as you will see. So Peter has greens in his shadows, if you guys have not noticed, and that's exactly what we'll be doing. Increase it to +10 and then move the slider to green. Not complete green, but sort of green. Green and blue, not cyan, but yes, this looks alright. Next we'll be going to our highlights. We'll be making them orange because now we'll be turning the mist, all the light from how the mist looks, we'll be turning it into almost sun, so it won't look like mist, it will look like sun. So that's exactly what we're going for. If you go too overboard, it looks almost fake, but we don't want that. I think this looks fairly well. I'll be decreasing the shadows to a little bit down. I think this is fine. Yep, this looks alright. Same goes with the highlights. Decrease it a little bit. That's fine. Now let's go up again and the dehaze. So if I decrease the dehaze increases, and if I go it decreases. But you don't want to go too much with it, so +12 looks absolutely fine to me. Alright, our adjustments are done. I'll show you before and after ones. So this is how we started with the raw, and this is where we are right now. Still does not look like the autumn vibe. Now let's open the image in Photoshop. The image is open in Photoshop. The first thing I will do is make a duplicate, Ctrl J. You don't have to do that, I do that just to show you guys the before and after once we are done. Now the next thing we are going to do, the first thing I really want to do is make the greens into oranges. That's why we did not use the slider, because we'll be using the Hue Saturation effect. Click on Hue Saturation. Now this button, go from master to greens, because that's the color we want to change. Add sample and choose any part of the green. As you can see, there are patches where the green is very dark and patches where the green is very light. You want to choose something in the middle. So I think this looks good, this looks very good. And then move the slider and you can see that it is only changing the greens, and we can change it to whatever color we want. And that's how I'm going to change it to orange. Done. I'll be increasing the saturation a little bit, and I'll be decreasing the lightness. So now the grass looks fairly dry and autumny. It already looks like a Halloween scene. Like I can easily add like glowing lights, make this a night scene. It will look really spooky Halloween. But this is Peter McKinnon's tutorial, so I won't be doing any major photo manipulations. This looks really good. Now we are going to do some color correction, something I really enjoy. Many people find it complex. It's really easy. Let's do color balance first. We'll start from our shadows. We want our shadows to be greener. Don't overdo anything, it will look really bad. So do everything in just moderate amount. Green, maybe some blues, slight blues, not too much, and just a little bit of cyan, just to give that, the signature rustic green look in the shadows. Then we'll go to midtones, and I'll have to just see it. We'll make them slightly red. just to emphasize on the warm feeling. And I think this looks, see, if we go here, then it looks more like a winter scene. If you go towards here, this looks more like an apocalypse scene. So we'll have to find a good balance. I think minus one, just slightly. Highlights are really important. We'll make them red because Peter's shadows are green, his highlights are orange. That's important. And I think this looks alright. This looks fairly well. This looks right. Yep. So before color balance, after color balance. Next we'll go to channel mixer. Channel mixer, and here we can tweak every single channel, red, green and blue. I will be going to the red channel and seeing slight differences, very slight changes. I won't be touching anything else, and then I'll be going to green, and here I will be seeing what fits well. I think make it slightly red. Yes, this looks much better. So you can see that there's very slight change. We have added a little bit of light to it. We have made the reds a little brighter. Last thing, go to selective color. This is going to be one of our last steps of the color grading process. Here we can go to greens and just move the sliders around, just see what it does. We can see that it's doing something here. If I move the magenta, see, so keep it right here and then move. It's fine. It's again doing the shadows predominantly, so because we are affecting the greens are only our shadows now, so that's great. And now let's decrease the cyan. Let's make it more orangey. If we decrease the magenta, it becomes yellow. If we increase the magenta, it becomes towards red. So you need to find a perfect balance to it. I think this much is fine. Decreasing the yellow becomes pale. Increasing it makes it look like this. And let's decrease it a little bit on the backs. Looks fairly good. Now I'm going to add an overlay. I got this overlay from one of my favorite creators out there, Kavan Shaban. I hope I'm pronouncing his name right. I'm really sorry if I'm not. But you can check out his store. He has a ton of things that you can use. I am using one of his light overlays. I'm going to go with the orange one and just copy it and Control V, paste it. Now let's move it so that the area where there's mist, the area where our source is, we can make it look like it's coming from sun. Let's rotate it slightly. Done. It looks black. To remove it, just simply go to blending modes, go to screen, and we're done. I'm moving it slightly downwards. Control T again. And just slightly move it around. Alright, this looks so much better. Now we can see that it has sort of edges that are visible. We don't want that. Create a layer mask. Go to brush option. Make sure foreground is black, background is white, and slightly erase the edges. We don't want any harsh edges, so we don't want that much on the. Alright, major difference, right? Next is going to be our last step. Let's add a little bit of vibrance to it. We decreased the vibrance too much in the raw editing part. Just increase it slightly, +5. Saturation also +2. I'm adding this. Personally, I would have not done this, but Peter does a lot of contrast, lots of punchiness in his autumn photos this year, so I'm doing that. Finally, let's go to curves. We are going to form a basic S curve, very slight S curve. This will add a lot of contrast to the image. It's just if you drop the shadows, a lot of contrast. Increase the highlights. Ooh, looks so much better. I'm going to crush the whites a little bit, not completely, just a little bit, just tiny bit. They're not white, completely blank white. I'm just going to crush the blacks a little bit too, not too much, just a little bit, and we are done. and we are done with our edit. I'll just show you guys the before and after, just to show you guys. This was after we were done with the raw processing, and this is how it looks now. It looks so much nice. It looks like an perfect autumn in mountains, very spooky season, very nice vibe. You can make few more changes. You can use your burn and dodge tool to make this area brighter and create some highlights here and will look good. But I think this looks really good, and I am really enjoying this whole theme that Peter McKinnon is doing. When it comes to editing, there are multiple ways to get to a similar result, and there's no way you can like simply make the exact replica, but this gives you a general idea of how to edit your photographs. I hope you guys learned something. I definitely did. I really enjoyed the trick with having slight color in the shadows, especially the green and the oranges. They work pretty well together. I never thought they would, because on the color spectrum they are not exactly opposite, slightly, but they actually work really well, so it creates a really grunge look. I really love that. So yeah, with that said, hope you guys enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching this video. See you in the next one. And yeah, if you guys want me to make similar tutorials and you guys want to suggest any other artist, you know what, just comment down below some of your favorite photographers, cinematographers. I'll try to show you guys how they create some of their greatest amazing works. Bye bye. Ouch, my back hurts.